individual meanings of each of my names. Like, for instance, why my first and middle name are French, and yet no one in my family is French. And Mom and Dad, I will never forgive you for not forgiving me a non-monogrammable four-initial name. Unfortunately, that senior speech has been done before many times. So, I am here instead to talk about how I defied all of the interesting ways my parents chose to make me stand out. Most people defy their parents by getting a nose piercing or a tattoo and shedding their J. Crew sweaters for Free People ones. Instead of a tattoo, I ordered Jack Rogers. And it only escalated from there. As the years went on, and my transformation from flower child to Richmond child only got worse. The highlight of this defiance came when I begged my mom to get me a pink, ruffly gingham lily dress for Christmas. To that, I got a series of responses from her, such as, "Why?" and "What has happened to you?" That lily dress was sort of the gateway drug to an even bigger dive into this unknown poppy pink and lime green world I was beginning to explore. The following year, I took it a step further and asked for a David Yurman ring for my birthday. She had abandoned her snarky comments for very wide-eyed facial expressions that said it all. Although during her frequent speeches of praise about my brother in comparison to me, she loves to add, "You know he's a hipster," in the proudest tone I've ever heard. We both knew I was past the point of no return. My argument for my transformation being that I never got to have my Lily and Jack years as a kid, so I was making up for lost fashion time. It was a true rebellion. I never grew up wearing those poppy pink Lily Pulitzer dresses or oversized hair bows or those catalog matching outfits with my mother. Instead, my parents dressed me in organically made outfits more equivalent to burlap sacks, crochet hats in the dark green and brown color family instead of pink. My mom always claims I was the best dressed baby because she shopped at all of the coolest and most unique boutiques. Unique being the key word there. I think the most mainstream outfit I remember having was a juicy sweatsuit. The food in our house growing up was not much different than my outfits, organic and whole wheat. To this day, my dad still makes us whole wheat pancakes for breakfast every morning and raisin, banana, honey sandwiches on wheat bread for lunch. There is always, without fail, granola and whole wheat everything in the house at all times. I actually had my first piece of white bread this summer while working at CCB during our lunch break. I'm not kidding, it sort of tasted like candy. The lack of white bread in my house and my father's frequent saying, "The whiter the bread, the quicker you're dead," seemed to instill a great fear of this grain-free item in me from an early age. As a result, I never touched it until this summer. And yes, we are huge supporters of the new kale fad, but the kale smoothies are only to be drank out of glass cups because plastic anything causes cancer. And therefore, we have been a strictly glass-only household. Also, in my parents' mind, letting my brother get an Xbox was as physically and psychologically harming as white bread. Like most whole grain advocates, my parents argued that exploring outside was a far more enriching activity than the violent, bloody killing in Xbox games. So, my grandmother finally got him one, much to their dismay, around age 9. I don't think he has been outside since. I always found it odd when my friends' houses had photographs preceding the stairwell of their children in black and white, with their hands folded in their lap or on the shoulder of another family member, smiling with a head tilt and a big pink bow in their hair. I wondered why my parents never took photos like these, and why we instead had close-up shots of our belly buttons and eyeballs. I later learned that these popular stairwell pictures were done by something called a professional family photographer. This puzzled me. Why would you hire someone to take family photos when your parents could just do it? I thought to myself. But unfortunately, not everyone's father happens to be a professional. My parents only took my brother and I to one of these professionals once. Between my brother and I screaming and crying, the photographer managed to slip in front of my occupied father a model release form. One day, years later, at Barnes & Noble, we stumbled across ourselves on the cover of a book. Another time in a Nicorette ad. And who knows where that picture of my mom and I has ended up since. Obviously, that was the last time we hired a professional. We didn't need to. My dad likes to call us the most photographed kids of all time, because really, we are. The Christmas card photo shoot day is like Christmas itself to my dad. It's a day-long event for everybody. Multiple cameras, tripods, and hot lighting devices are used while my mother and father put their art directing skills to work on it. The first couple hours are smiling, then no smiling, then the classic, smile with only your eyes. Our home decor also reflects my parents' strive to stand out. I seriously think I have such a curious mind today because of the countless hours I would sit staring at the modern art in my house, wondering what the heck it depicted. The other artwork hanging on the walls is my parents' own work. My dad drew these amazing mural-sized realistic drawings with a box of Crayola crayons. These are by far my favorite pieces. Other decorations include African headdresses, African beads and baskets, lots of tiny bird figures in all the windows, and a ping pong table in the foyer on occasion. Between my ridiculously long name and infant style choices, my parents have never failed to make sure I stand out wherever I go. I am grateful for this. I never have to worry about teachers learning my name or who I am because on the first day of school, they all single me out in front of class and ask, "Can you pronounce that?" Followed by, "And how did your parents land on that name?" They found it in a book called The Atlas. What I take away from a 17-year experience of being raised by my amazing parents is the importance of being interesting. The importance of captivating people by who you are and how you live. And, mainly because of my uncommon name, my parents really succeeded in making sure I stand out with that first introduction. Feeling the need to hide some of your naturally given quirkiness is, I think, a better battle to choose than having to try to be noticed.